Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hope everyone's having a fabulous day. If you haven't gotten a chance to subscribe to this channel, please do so. Ring that notification bell. That way, when I drop a video, you'll be notified. As you go through and you start researching on YouTube about Chapter 7's bankruptcies, if you look, you're starting to notice that there's a lot of people in situations of bankruptcy. I'm starting to notice that I get a lot of people that email me on a consistent basis about bankruptcy. Should they, shouldn't they? And for some odd reason, this is becoming a hot topic. I don't know if it's the economic climate. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that I'm starting to see a lot more situations and a lot more people emailing me on bankruptcy. But as you go through online and you start researching, you will start seeing a lot of credit repair specialists basically telling people that they don't have to file a bankruptcy, that they can just go through credit repair. So I apologize if I ramble through this video. I just want to put my thoughts on video so that you guys can kind of understand the differences between the two. There are some key differences between a bankruptcy and a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. One is a liquidation, the other is just removing items from your credit report. Now, not saying one is better than the other. It just really depends on your situation. So I can't really say don't file bankruptcy and do credit repair, or vice versa, right? It really depends on your situation. I'm not an attorney, a CPA, or anything like that. I'm not trying to give you advice. And when people call me up asking me for advice on Chapter 7s, I just try and tell people my experience, right? So if you guys are watching this video, understand this is from my experience. Now, one key difference between the two is the fact that when you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, it is complete liquidation, meaning there is no more responsibility that you have to that debt. You are free and clear from the debt. You wipe your hands clear from the debt, and at that point, you are left to just build from that point going forward. Now, if you come to me and you're contemplating, should I file bankruptcy, should I file, or should I do credit repair, and I talk you into doing credit repair, let's say, if you decide to do credit repair and you're within the statute of limitations, those companies that you owe that debt to can still come after you for that debt. So you are not free and clear from that debt just because it's removed from your credit report. That is probably one of the largest myths out there. People think that just because an item is removed from their credit report, they don't owe that debt, and that's not true. You still are obligated to that debt. And so there are situations where a debtor could be past the statute of limitations, try and sue you for that debt, right? They'll try and sue you for that debt, and if you don't go to court, chances are they could win a judgment against you, even if it's after the statute of limitations, right? So you have to show up to those court dates, and that's probably one of the largest differences between a bankruptcy and credit repair. You see, a lot of times people look at bankruptcy as being irresponsible, and I think the complete opposite. A lot of times going through a bankruptcy can actually be the most responsible thing you can do. And I just like to bring that, on the table, because a lot of you, when you guys are thinking about bankruptcy, one of the things is you're looking at it and you're saying, well, isn't that me being irresponsible by not paying my debts? Yeah, it is. You can look at it that way. But America does not want you to be destitute. America is designed for all of us to succeed. And if you get into a situation where you don't have the income to meet those debts, and you are just going to be a slave to those debts, then at that point, filing a bankruptcy may be the best option for you. Now, I can't make that decision for you. Of course, I'm going to tell you to go talk with an attorney, but I just want you guys to understand that there is a difference between a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and credit repair. And there is no one way to fix all situations. So I'm not going to sit here and make blanket statements like one way is better than the other. Now, when you go through credit repair is not an overnight process. Okay. um, Credit repair can sometimes takes up to 2 years just to get yourself in a situation where you could start really building credit, and you got those items off your credit report. And even then you got to wait for the statute of limitations to run out. Credit repair can be a grind, right? Credit repair can be a grind, and you're going through, and there's a lot of work that you're going through trying to take care of in order to get all this debt wiped off your credit report. Now, granted, is it possible? Yeah. Yeah, you can, get things done in a reasonable manner. But what is not going to be possible, when we get a lot of people that come to us, right? Because most of you guys know I have a credit repair company. When people come to me, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes people come to me and they think I have this magic wand that I can wave over their credit report and items are going to be removed from their credit report. And that's not how it works. I always try to set a standard that people know. You can't just expect to give this 2 months and expect everything to come off your credit report, right? Because a lot of times I'll get people from other credit repair companies, and they'll say, "Oh, this person doesn't work. This credit repair company is garbage. This credit," and I'll ask a simple, "How long have you been with them?" And they'll say, "Oh, I've been with them for 2 months." Yeah, that's not enough time for you to sit there and say that credit repair company hasn't done anything for you. You got to give them at least 6 to 8 months, to see what's being done on your credit report. Are they having any success? And I know a lot of people hate for me to say that, but that's the truth, right? That is the truth. And when you're talking about credit repair, like I always tell people, it's a process. It's a grind. It's not an overnight process. When I filed my bankruptcy, I believe I filed my bankruptcy in June of 2017. By October of 2017, I received my discharge, and I was building my credit from that point going forward. Okay, and I was wiped clean of all those debts that I owed. Most of it, I would say 99% of it was business debt, but I was able to start building my life from that point, right? And so being able to have a clear mind, knowing that I don't have any more responsibility or obligation to that debt, it allowed me to focus on what I needed to focus on. If you're going through credit repair, you are going to be asked, while I'm working on your credit file, we're going to still be working on building credit. While I'm deleting items, when it's time for you to apply for something, or if I see something on your credit report that needs to be tweaked a little bit, I'm going to actually ask for you to apply for lines of credit. So please understand, credit repair is a process. It's not an overnight 3-month fix that you're going to do where there's very minimum work on your behalf. In a bankruptcy, I met with my attorney. We filled out the paperwork, gave him the money. We had another meeting right before the meeting of creditors. I just went in and talked to him for about 5 minutes because, it's always nerve-wracking, the meeting of creditors, where you're going to go face all your creditors. And I just wanted to, sit and meet with my attorney. The very next day from that second meeting, I went to the courthouse early for my meeting of creditors. I sat through quite a few cases, probably 10 cases. Very few creditors showed up to any of those cases. I had mine. None of my creditors showed up to my meeting of creditors. And at that point, the trustee asked me a couple of questions. How are you not going to run back into this situation again? Real basic questions, nothing really, extravagant. And that was it. After that, I received my letter of discharge. There was a pre-class that I had to take, a post-class that I had to take that was really, really simple. And there was maybe a total of 15, 20 minutes worth of work through my entire bankruptcy that I had to do. Yeah, I paid a little bit of money, but the total amount of effort that I put into my bankruptcy, and it was very minimum. In credit repair, there's going to be a lot of work that you're going to have to do. It's not going to be, oh, Kenny, here's my credit report, go get them, Tiger. No, it doesn't work that way. So to compare a bankruptcy to credit repair, it's I'm not going to say it's irresponsible. It's just hard to compare an apple to an orange, right? Because I can't tell you one is better than the other. It really depends on your situation. Now, most of you that are contemplating bankruptcy, I do want to tell you something. I understand your mentality. I understand where you're at. You have all this anxiety building up in you. And I just want to give you a little of encouragement. Don't focus on your fears, right? Don't focus on the fear of what you're doing, because you're feeding into your subconscious mind that's telling you there's something bad that's going to happen, right? And I don't want you to focus on that. What you need to focus on is why you're doing it and how you're going to feel after it's done. Imagine, okay, how are you going to feel once you're past all the debt? Once you go to your meeting of creditors and they're not there, and you sit there with your trustee and he asks you a couple of questions and excuses you from court. 30 to 90 days from that point, you get a letter basically saying your debts are discharged. How are you going to feel about that? And if you're going to feel, if it tells you you're going to feel crummy after, then those are the feelings that you need to focus on. Not the before you go to before you go to the meetings, your fear of your creditor. Oh, maybe they may show up, and maybe I might have someone tell me that I'm gonna owe this debt. It doesn't. As for all the meetings that I showed, there was only one young lady that when she filed a bankruptcy, she didn't know she had property in her name from the trust, and the trustee found it, right? And it was some property that I believe her grandmother left her, if I recall. And they had to figure out what they were going to do with this property. Other than that, there was no creditors, no credit, no Visas, no MasterCards, no American Expresses, no auto loan companies showed up to any of these people's meeting of creditors, right? It was just situations where, okay, you have this land and we can't figure out what we're going to do with this land right now, so we're going to figure it out, and we're going to have to, reconvene and figure out what we're going to do with the land. It wasn't nothing extravagant. It wasn't like she had, creditors show up and say, "Oh no, we want our money." None of those situations did it ever happen. And just to give you a little enlightenment on my situation, I always tell you guys I had close to $200,000 worth of debt hanging over my head. And these debtors that I had, they were very aggressively seeking their money. They were aggressive with it. And some cases, I probably could have went to court, hired an attorney, and go face them, because a lot of it just was completely false BS, right? But I did not have the money to go to court, hire an attorney to go to court for this debt. And so the best way that I seen to get out of my situation was a bankruptcy. And I wasn't really worried about my credit report because I knew I could build credit. I knew how to build credit. The last thing on my in my worry was my credit. Oh, my credit, it's gonna get dinged. And no, that was the last of my worry, because I knew, okay, I can get my credit back where I need to be, right? And then I made a video showing you guys my credit report, that it was like a 540, and then I did another review 30 or 90 days later showing you guys, okay, now I'm in the 650s, right? Within 90 days from the date of my discharge. But that's how this whole channel started, was you know, showing you guys I'm coming off of bankruptcy. I can show you how to build credit. If you go watch some of my earlier videos, you will actually see me post my credit report after my bankruptcy, right? What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to link to two videos in the description if you guys want to watch those videos of me showing my credit report, and a review of 60 days. I believe it was 30, 60, 90 days later, right? Actually showing you, okay, these are my FICO scores. And most credit repair specialists, they're not going to to spend the time to show you their credit reports and actually go into a deep dive on how to build credit, because the money, right? The money that you make deleting items from your credit report, that's what butters your bread. So they're not going to spend the time with you going over their credit reports, talking to you about building credit and all that stuff. So when you're talking about the bankruptcy process and the fear that you have, as far as all the negative ideas that you have in your mind, chances are you are not going to feel any of those once you get your discharge, right? And that's why I always try and tell people, don't focus on all your fears going into it. Focus on how you would feel after, because those are the true feelings that you're going to have. And if you say, man, if it went down like that and I would feel great if that happened, then chances are that's where you need to be focusing on. That's what you need to be focusing on, not the fear of going into it, because fear will stifle growth. Fear will stifle you from making decisions, believe it or not. And that's one of the things that I see most when people email me about their bankruptcy is, should I do it? Should I not do it? I'm not an attorney. I can't tell you, you should or shouldn't. But, what's holding you back from pulling the trigger is my question. And all this advice that I'm giving you right now is completely contradictory of everything that I'm about, right? Like, I'm a credit repair company. Why would I tell somebody not to go to a credit repair company? And the reason being is it's in my best interest to give you guys the best advice that I can give, right? It's not contradicting in a negative way. It's just my message about credit has always been about get the best credit that you possibly can. Well, a bankruptcy is going to harm your credit. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, bankruptcy, you are going to have damaged credit. Now, there are some things that you can do before you file a bankruptcy, right? I would not stop paying things. If you could manage your credit up to the point where you file, up to that point, I would manage my credit as best as I possibly can up to the filing day, right? A lot of times what people will do is they know that they're going to file a bankruptcy. You can see the ship sinking, right? It doesn't just, one day, fall to the bottom of the ocean. Usually in a financial situation, you kind of feel, okay, I'm going backwards, and you're contemplating bankruptcy. What a lot of people do is, a year up to the filing date, they'll just stop paying everything. And I wouldn't recommend that, because what really ravaged my credit report wasn't just the personal description bankruptcy on my credit report. It was the fact of all the damage done leading up to my bankruptcy. Now, I didn't stop paying a year up to my bankruptcy. It was a couple of months, but still, those 30, 60-day lates completely just, it messed up my 750 FICO score. And it got to the point where I was like, all right, uh, let's do this bankruptcy. And then I went through the bankruptcy, and I felt like if I would have handled it, I could have probably, gotten a lot faster to the 700s. And that's where I really wanted to be. If you look at FICO scores, if you got a 780 FICO score, world's at your fingertips. The world's at your fingertips where you will be able to do a lot of things. But you're still going to have to keep building credit, because I know of people that have close to 800 FICO scores, and it was still hard for them to maneuver financially, right? And so I just wanted to touch bases with you guys and let you guys know that if you guys are contemplating a bankruptcy or contemplating credit repair, the number one thing that you're going to have to think about is, are you within the statute of limitations of this debt? If you're within the statute of limitations, there is no comparison at that point, right? It just comes down to, what do you want to accomplish? Now, if you're after the statute of limitations, I guess you can kind of compare them and see, but most of you are within the statute of limitations of your debt. And so if I tell you to do credit repair, you can still get a judgment against you. You can still get a judgment against you. And I want you guys to understand that, and I want you guys to be aware of these decisions, because there's a lot of people that are starting to make comparison videos, credit repair versus bankruptcy, and a lot of times it's not that easy to make that blanket of a statement. You're going to have to dive a little bit deeper into the details to get a better decision, to make a better decision. And if you have fear hovering over you of the meeting of creditors, trust me, chances are it's not as heavy as you think, right? And so I guess the better option for you guys to start really thinking about, should you go through a debt elimination company, because I just had a gentleman that went through a debt elimination company. And you know, one thing about the debt elimination companies is, when they close your account, those balances are still going to be on your credit report, right? Those balances are still going to be on your credit report, even though those accounts are closed. And though they may be able to negotiate um, a better rate for you, right? A better interest rate, there is still some damage that's going to be done to your credit report, even going through a debt elimination program. So these are just some of the things that I want you guys to think about. And I'm going to try and, talk a little bit more about bankruptcies, because I'm starting to feel that these are the questions that people are having. And if you go back in my archive and you watch my videos, anytime I mention the word bankruptcy in the title, it just seems like those videos have the most activity and the most questions. And one thing that I want to do is, I want to make sure that I'm here to answer your guys' questions. I want to make sure that if you guys are struggling with a particular topic, and I know a little bit about it, I want to be able to help get you to the next level. All right, I'm not going to make this a long video. I really hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. You guys have a blessed one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.